Welcome back to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is Tuesday, September 10th, and if you are just tuning in, we've just gone over the first half of the NFL Power Rankings. We went through 32 to 17. You can go and check that out if you are curious. We're going to finish up our NFL Power Rankings in this segment, but before we do, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Or if you are on YouTube, you can use that super chat feature. If you do either of those two things, a message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everybody so much for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. But like I was saying, in this segment, we are going to finish up our NFL Power Rankings. We left off at number 17 with the Arizona Cardinals, and we're going to continue at number 16 with another bird in the same division, the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks come in at 16, up a couple of spots after taking care of the Broncos. Their defense looked solid. The one thing I'm concerned about is, their offensive line. They're going to be fine offensively. They were able to put up points. Their offensive line gave up two safeties though, and that's a little concerning. That's at least one too many safeties against a Broncos team than I am willing to just go past. Two safeties in a game is a lot. You got to work on that a little bit. The Seahawks defensively did their job. They figured out how to stop Bo Nix. Just tackle the ball carrier when he dumps it off. Pass rush is there. The Seahawks defense, if they can keep this up, could be a dangerous team. We'll see what happens, though. The Seahawks are at number 16. At 15, I have the Green Bay Packers, and I didn't want to punish them too harshly. The Packers are a very good team, but what we saw in the two plays without Jordan Love is very, very concerning to me. Jordan Love led this Packers team toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the NFL in the Philadelphia Eagles, but they lost him, and we saw two plays of Malik Willis. Now, they were in late-game situations, so we don't know exactly what he's going to do. He's still new to this team. They traded for him from the Titans just 2 weeks ago, right before the season started. First throw, way off target. Second throw, trying to get a Hail Mary off. He doesn't even get a throw off, and that is very concerning. This is a Green Bay Packers team that had championship aspirations from some people. This is a Green Bay Packers team that is built young. They need Jordan Love back, and until they do, I feel like they're just going to keep slipping because they played solidly everywhere else against a very good team, but they fall 5 spots to number 15 for me. Number 14 goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was low on them. They come out, granted, against a bad Commanders defense, and Baker Mayfield carves them up. 4 touchdowns. One of the best quarterback performances in the entirety of Week 1. If the Bucs can keep this up against a real defense, they could be trouble again. They're probably front runners in their division. I was a little lower on them because I thought the Falcons would be able to overtake it. But what we saw out of Kirk Cousins and the Falcons, as opposed to Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield, one of these teams looks like a good team. The other one looks like they're in shambles. The Bucs move up to 14. At number 13, the Buffalo Bills, or should I say the Buffalo Josh Allens. Josh Allen looks phenomenal. Josh Allen looks like a real MVP candidate. He single-handedly willed this team to a win over the Arizona Cardinals. Whether it be rushing, passing, defense, I'm sure you could throw him out there and he would be one of the best players in that position. He looked incredible. He got the ball out to 9 different receivers. Keon Coleman, the rookie, led the team in yards. Khalil Shakir scored a touchdown. You know, this is good Josh Allen football. He didn't turn the ball over that often. I believe he had 1 turnover. I don't have the stats in front of me. I apologize, but Josh Allen looked awesome. Again, I've seen the Bills ranked as high as 3 in some of these, which I think is ridiculous. They're not better than Chiefs, 49ers, Lions, Ravens, Texans, Eagles, Cowboys, so on and so forth. The people ahead of my power rankings, at least obviously in my opinion, but I think the Bills are good. They're a fringe playoff team, and Josh Allen is a true MVP contender this year. At 12, the Los Angeles Rams. They lose a heartbreaker in Detroit. They played really good football. They lose Puka Nacua. It doesn't matter. Cooper Kupp is here. 14 catches, career high. Touchdown, 110 yards. He went off against a solid Lions defense. The one thing, obviously, that stuck out in this game was the offensive line. And yet, they were able to go up against a good pass rush and send it to overtime. They had a huge comeback in that second half, and maybe it's because the Lions got a little more conservative, got a little comfortable with the lead, but they were able to come all the way back. Matt Stafford looks good. He got banged up a little bit, but the Rams, they could be dangerous this year. At 11, the Indianapolis Colts. And this is probably my hottest take in this whole power rankings. I love Anthony Richardson. If you've been watching this, you know how high I am on Anthony Richardson. I've seen people rank the Colts all the way down in the 20s. And that, I think, is quite frankly ridiculous. I don't see how they're worse than a team like the Commanders, or they're worse than a team like the Chargers, when Anthony Richardson can casually flick the ball off of his back foot, fading away 70 yards in the air after slipping. That is not normal. No one, I have never seen a throw like that in my entire life. On top of that, he's the fastest guy on the field. He wills them to nearly a massive comeback against a really, really good Texans team, a Texans team that I have in my top 5 this week, and the Colts are getting no respect for it. Sure, his stat line was 9 for 19, and sure, he missed a couple of throws, but it's also only his 5th ever game starting in the NFL, and people need to remember that. I know I'm high on him, but they're making it so that any kind of missed pass is an unforgivable mistake. But look at him. Look at him and tell me he's not the best athlete in the game right now. Look at him and tell me he doesn't have the greatest arm in football. Look at this Colts team and tell me that they are the 25th best team in football. You're wrong. I just cannot comprehend why people are so low on the Colts, and I understand maybe I'm a little too high on them. Let's meet in the middle, put them somewhere at 15, 16. I'm happy with that. In the 20s? In the 20s? No, that is ridiculous. And I think the Colts need some more respect, and hopefully they get it with Anthony Richardson. They just play a different style of football. I love this Colts team. I think they're a very, very dangerous team this year. At number 10, we've hit the top 10, the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals, I know, just got completely embarrassed at home against the New England Patriots, a team that seemed like the worst team in football heading into the year. The Cincinnati Bengals, I know, only put up 10 points. I know they turned the ball over in very inopportune times. I know Joe Burrow didn't look good, but the Bengals always start slow, and I don't want that to be an excuse. They still fall 5 spots for me. I had them in the top 5 heading into the year. They just need to get it together. They had a lot of drama in this offseason. We talked about the 49ers and the Jets drama this offseason, but Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, they both were in the midst of weird contract things. Their star defensive player, Trey Hendrickson, asked for a trade at some point in the offseason as well. They had a bunch of injuries. This was just not a good week for them. They'll put it back together. I think this is still a very good Cincinnati Bengals team. At number 9, the New York Jets. And we talked about the Jets, how disappointing they are defensively. But again, this is a team that just needs to get some cohesion together. The Jets and the Bengals both still deserve to be in the top 10 because they're very talented teams. I understand if you want to push them out. I really do. But I'm banking on the upside of these two teams, these two quarterbacks, these two coaching staffs to turn it around after a very disappointing week 1 for both of them. In the 8th spot, we have the newly minted $60 million man and the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott signs a new contract. They head into Cleveland, absolutely decimate them. The running game looked solid. Surprisingly, Zeke did a good job. You didn't have a lot of CeeDee Lamb, but you didn't need a lot of CeeDee Lamb. There were some issues there. The defense still looked great, but I'm going to put that more on the fault of the Browns being bad. But the Cowboys look dangerous in the NFC. Looks like they could make a run. Looks like the Cowboys of what we expected them to be are back. I still need to see them in high pressure games before I raise them into the top 5, but they looked really, really good on all units. Heck, their kicker hit a 66-yarder that I think would have been good from 71 if they ended up letting him try it, which I'm still a little peeved they didn't let him try it. That would have been fun. I always root for long kicks. It's always fun to see. Maybe later on in the season, Aubrey will get a chance to hit that. But Cowboys sit at 8 for now. At number 7, we have Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles. Saquon Barkley, 3 touchdowns in his debut. Go up against a good Packers unit. Put up over 30 points on them in Brazil on sloppy field conditions. I cannot wait to see what they do when they get good field conditions. They're not slipping all over the place. The defense is able to come back. Saquon makes this team head and shoulders better than they were last year, and they're going to be a fun team to watch. A.J. Brown goes off. He's getting faster as he get older. If you take a look at his top sprint speed, he's only getting faster. He ran the fastest he's ever run on his long touchdown in Brazil. I cannot wait to watch more Eagles football, honestly. At number 6, the Miami Dolphins. And again, this is another team that you might think is a little high, but we saw what they could do in the second half. They drove down the field after having an abysmal first half. Tua missed a couple throws that really could have blown this game open in the first half. Tyreek Hill had 1 touchdown that Tua just barely overthrew him on. This is a very good Dolphins team. I'm very encouraged by their defense, which is why I have them this high. This is a Dolphins team that can make a lot of noise this year in the NFL. Hitting the top 5. At number 5, we have the Houston Texans. I talked about the Colts a lot. I know I went on and on about them, but this is a Houston Texans team that beat them. They made no mistakes in this game. Their new additions looked phenomenal. Stephon Diggs scored 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon scored a touchdown. Their defense did what they needed to against a good Colts offense. CJ Stroud made some of the craziest plays I've ever seen. On the knees to convert a 4th down play. One of the craziest sideline throws, getting to win the game on a 3rd and 12 to put this game away when they were up 2. This was a awesome game to watch. I cannot wait to see more CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson battles in the future. These two teams will be very good for years to come. At number 4, the Baltimore Ravens. The highest ranked 0-1 team we have on our list here. The Baltimore Ravens almost beat the defending Super Bowl champions, the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions. It came down to a toe, and they didn't play their best game, and they were still in it against a Chief team that I was unbelievably impressed by. This is a Ravens team that I think can make a lot of noise, maybe even vie for a Super Bowl this year if they're able to get that run game going with Derrick Henry a little more. We talked about it when we broke down that Thursday night game about a week ago. Derrick Henry needs the ball like he did on that first drive. He doesn't need to get 30 carries a game like he did in Tennessee, but, give him 4 carries, a drive. Keep him out there. At least do play action with him. He gets better as the game goes on, as the defense wears down, and we even saw that. For the limited amount of carries he had in the second half, he was breaking off bigger and bigger runs. The Ravens don't seem like they're going to use him like that, and I think that's a mistake. This is a team that needs to use Derrick Henry the right way if they're going to be successful. We'll see if they do that. For now, they sit at 4. Number 3, the Detroit Lions. This is a team that would use Derrick Henry correctly, and I think it would be so cool to see Derrick Henry on this team. David Montgomery in overtime pound the rock through that defense over and over and over again, just bowling through them, getting them down to the goal line, scoring that touchdown. This Lions team is a lot of fun. I want to see more out of the passing game. Williams looked awesome. Amon-Ra got just about nothing. Jared Goff was a little uncomfortable, as he is when he's under pressure. Hopefully that gets fixed, but that run game is as good as ever. Jahmyr Gibbs needs to be a little bit better, but you have that awesome lightning thunder 1-2 punch with him and David Montgomery. This is going to be a tough team to beat. They're here at 3. At number 2, the San Francisco 49ers, and they're here because they got Trent Williams back. I said they were sitting at 4 last week because they didn't have Trent Williams, and you see the difference. 0 pressures allowed from Trent Williams. He was the leader in a rushing attack that didn't have the best running back in football and still put up 150 yards rushing. That's insane what they did. The San Francisco 49ers sit at 2. They dropped too many passes to be at 1. And that leaves, of course, the number 1 team in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs have no reason not to be number 1. They've won 2 straight Super Bowls. They have the best player in the world. They looked scary offensively. Xavier Worthy adds a new element of speed that can stretch the field both horizontally and vertically. Very dangerous combination with, Rashee Rice, who was killing on those little slant post kind of routes, short slant posts against linebackers, killing the zone. Travis Kelce, his connection with Patrick Mahomes is going to be what it's going to be. And they have that power running element with Isaiah Pacheco. The defense looked really good. Chris Jones getting anything he wanted. This is a Chiefs team that has very few weaknesses. Last year was the year to take them out, and the entire NFL failed. It's going to be tough this year. The Kansas City Chiefs sit at number 1. But let me know what you think of these power rankings. I'll run through the top 10 real quick for you. Cincinnati Bengals at 10, Jets at 9, Cowboys 8, Eagles 7, Dolphins 6, Texans 5, Ravens 4, Lions 3, Niners 2, and the Kansas City Chiefs at 1. Let me know if you thought your team was too high, too low. I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything we talked about in this list. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue ranking things. Big ranking episode today, guys. We're going to take a look at the top 25 in college football and take a look at the group of 5 as well with the G5T5, the group of 5 top 5. So stick around for that. We'll be right back here on Sports by GSMC Podcast Network.